Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to Legit Fantasy Basketball. I'm Brother Ray. It is Thursday, June 17th, and we got a lot to talk about. Still recovering from last night. Just unbelievable. And we'll get to that. We'll get to that collapse by the 76ers. But, speaking of collapses, let's bring in King Michael. King, did you watch any of the game last night?
Yes, and why would I be collapses? I think I'm the guy who told you that this was going to happen. I think I said upset alert. I think that those were my words. Look, I think Philly pulls this off. I still do. I don't know why, but I think they still do. Even though they hate themselves. Like, I've never seen a team hate themselves so much. You know what I mean?
They do.
Like, Ben Simmons is getting everybody's wrath and then some. Like, everybody's wrath and then some.
And I agree. And speaking of wrath, let's bring in Coach TJ. Coach TJ.
Yeah. Never mind. Speaking of wrath, speaking of hating yourself, right? Today, that might have been the most depressing hour. I haven't had an hour that depressing in months. It was just bad. I'll tell you what, whatever is asked of me tonight, do know this. I watched zero sports today. I don't know what any of the little talking heads said. I didn't read one article. So whatever is asked of me tonight, just know that it has not been swayed because I cannot watch. I didn't want to hear the analysis. I didn't want to hear any analysis at all. It's disgusting. Fire the coach, trade the point guard, revamp the bench. I give up. Give up.
I did the same thing. I really, after the loss on Monday, I was there for all the sound bites with Doc and complaining and, listening to him talk about that, how they didn't play defense, they didn't pass the ball. I had no interest in anything Doc was going to say today or anything that he said last night. But hey, we do got a show to do, so let's start with Monday, and we'll make our way to last night's game. Monday, June 14th. We got to talk about basically almost a carbon copy of this game, except they were never up that big. 103-100. Atlanta beats Philly and really set up the disappointment that was last night. And they tied the series. They really turned it all around.
You know what? I'm about to go downstairs, fill up the tub with warm, bubbly water. Maybe I'll play some Donna Summers. And then I'm going to slip my wrist and just slide into the tub. Because that's what it's like listening to you Sixer fans right now. It's just, give me a break. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. You guys are going to be all right.
You can't get it. Here's why you can't get it, King Mike. You didn't suffer through tanking. So let's start with that foundation of disappointment and disgust and having to deal with that and then still be like a Sixer fan. Then you finally get the 1 seed for the first time since like I was in diapers. Then Brooklyn's best player goes down, or second best player and third best player, and you avoid Boston, you avoid Miami, you avoid everybody. You get the freaking Hawks, who probably shouldn't have even beat the Knicks. Everything is lined up. This is the year we go to the finals. There's no LeBron on the other side. I mean, everything's lined up, and you go lay 2 eggs in 1 week against the Hawks. Now, we're going to talk about Monday's game. Let me tell you something about Monday's game. John Collins was in everybody's head. His 3 dunks in the fourth quarter of that game were like, you might have thought it was Rucker Park pickup basketball. Embiid couldn't even move. He couldn't get off the ground in the fourth quarter. He was beat to death. And the Hawks really just came out and just took it. And they really did. And Collins was the key to the entire thing. I mean, I know the kid, he only had 14 points. I don't care. He's too short to be getting 12 rebounds. He's too short to be the toughest guy in the gym. He had the most enthusiasm in the building. And those 3 dunks were spectacular. Philly could never come back from that. We don't have one guy in our team that has the balls of Collins.
Can I ask you something, Ray?
Go for it, King.
Shouldn't you, if you get paid millions upon millions of dollars, shouldn't you be able to keep your cardio for like an entire game, no matter who you are? Like, shouldn't you, as a professional athlete, wouldn't you make sure that your cardio was like the best? If you made it to the pros, you were making like 100 million. I would. Like, I would make sure my cardio was up. These guys were gassed. How is that possible?
Yeah,
Pro athletes
you can't do it. I mean, we've talked about his cardio in the past, and when he gets tired, he gets sloppy. And it happened in Monday. He gets tired, he gets sloppy. He can't hit any of those jumpers. He can't hit the fall away because he doesn't have his legs. And then what does he do? His next strategy is to just flop and hope that they're going to call a foul. Joel, it's less than a minute in the game. Their whistles are in their pockets, Joel. You know this. So, but no, he's going to flop, turn the ball over. He'll complain. Collins, on most of those dunks, was untouched. There was nobody within 5 yards of him. And it looked like it was practice. He was practicing for the dunk contest. But
Ray, I think you make a great point, Ray. Great point.
You have to have it, Coach, right? I mean, at the end of the game, he has to have the discipline. And if he's gassed, take yourself out. Like, seriously, you can see him at the free throw line.
It can't get to that point. And I'll tell you what, there's two things. The greatest point you just made is about the turnovers. When he threw one into the stands, trying to throw it to the corner, he missed by about 8 feet because he's just throwing the shit out there because he can't do anything with it. 1, 2. He does not hide his fatigue at all. He cannot be the only guy in the game that's tired in the fourth quarter. I'm sure everybody is tired in the fourth quarter. He lumbers around like he looks like he's just beat down. Jersey comes untucked. Every time there's a ball stoppage, his hands are on his knees. Then he starts falling around, blaming refs. And it's like, Joel, it's not it. Maybe we need more Dwight Howard to begin the fourth quarter. I don't know. But there's no question that he was a catastrophe on Monday night. His fourth quarter was one of the worst I've seen him play. And it's just disgusting.
And Clint Capella nailed it. Like, after Monday's win, they asked Clint Capella about Embiid because Shaq at halftime, he challenged Clint because Clint was backing down in that first half. And in the second half, Clint played a little bit better, played more spirited. But he said it, and he nailed it. He said, listen, Joel comes out at the beginning of the game like a bull in a china shop. He bullies everybody, but in the fourth quarter, he gets tired. He makes mistakes, and that's how we're going to win. And then it drove Joel nuts. He came out of the game swearing at Capella last night, pointing at him, calling him a bitch, all of that. And guess what happened again? Capella was right.
Mm-hmm.
Ken, what do you think?
I think that I should have grabbed at least one of the fans from my house because being up here on third floor in this heat, I'm trying to hide my face because it's starting to get like red and blotchy. And I got a white beard coming in. So I look like Nick Nolte snuck into my house and got drunk. That's what I'm starting to look like. And I'm worried about it because, like I said, if you only knew the sweating that I was doing currently, it would disgust you. It would disgust most. But look, I still think the Sixers win this series. I don't know why. I know they're down 3-2, but I know they win this series. And you guys told me, without a shadow of a doubt, there was no way it was over. It was done. And I'm like, it's a mismatch. No one wanted to hear it.
Atlanta's just not a very good team. I mean, no disrespect to Atlanta, but they're really not that good of a team. Like, if this was Milwaukee, I mean, Milwaukee would have beat them by 30, for God's sakes. If this was Brooklyn, they would have got beat by 40. I mean, Atlanta is just basically, eking out these wins, and you have 2 games in a row where they didn't show up in the fourth quarter. Their bench has been non-existent. I mean, we'll get to last night, but, you go in a game where Tobias Harris has 4 points and he gets shut out. And you can't have a max player score 4 points in a game. No. You can't have a max player like Ben Simmons come out with 8 points in a game. and then go 4 for 14 from the free throw line. And that's another topic, but we'll get to that. But let's look at Monday. We had another game. It was a pretty exciting game. The Clippers made a big move. And George had a monster game. They won 118-104. You got to put into context what happened last night. It's something none of us expected. Coach, I mean, what do you make with the Clippers right now?
Well, I still don't trust the Clippers, but Paul George kind of was like, yeah, I'm Paul George of Indiana days. And he was the best player in the game on Monday night, best player of the game last night. So that's huge. Morris, the Morris twin bothers me so much because he's such a selfish bastard. Like, he has never, ever passed the ball. But when he gets hot, he's as good a shooter as you're going to find. So when he comes out and drops 25, and then you got Paul George playing at like his highest level that he can possibly play, that's a big win. And, what we kind of talked about Monday night was, is there too much Donovan Mitchell in Utah? And the ball wasn't moving quite right. And you know what we saw Monday night? Too much Donovan Mitchell in Utah is what I think we saw. So he come out, take another 25 shots. And to me, I don't think that's the best way they can win. So huge win by the Clippers at home. I think I know we talked about like that Jekyll and Hyde, but when they're Jekyll, boy, they're good.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I mean, you got to give them credit. I mean, for what they did last night, with no Kawhi, for them to come out and play the way they did. King, what do you think about the Clippers?
I don't. They're kind of like a chaos theory. I don't buy into them as far as winning the series, and I don't know why. It's the same stance I just had, but now with the Clippers. I just as I think Philly's going to pull through, I think the Clippers will not. They won't. I don't know why. I like Utah. They're a better team. So I think just overall, I'm trusting. I hate to say trusting the system, but I'm trusting the system of how they play. And I think Utah will beat them tonight. And then after they beat them tonight in LA, because I don't think LA is much of a home thing anyways, and they go home back to Utah for Game 7, they'll close it out. So, they win tonight, and they're going to close it out in Game 7. How about that? I promise you that. And I think they're going to win tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I just think everyone was shocked.
Right.
I fully expected Utah to lay it on them last night, and it just didn't happen. So, yeah, I mean, we can definitely unpack that. The game I want to talk about, though, and we can talk about the great performance by Kevin Durant. But right now, it's 8:25. Bucks Nets start at 8:30. So anyone that wants to get a bet in right now, I think we should talk about tonight. And see who we like. The spread is, Milwaukee's favored by 5, and it looks like, the over under is 220.5. So I'll start with you, King.
I have a lock for this one for so many reasons. Milwaukee wins the game. They cover the spread. Game 7. That's all I'm talking about. There's going to be the NBA wants it. It's going to happen. So write it down. Seriously, this is going to happen. Take Milwaukee, given the points.
What about the over? The over under? What do you think? What do you?
I don't touch those. I refuse to do that. I don't because I'm not going to do all that math, all that fancy science and magic. I'm not doing that.
That's genius stuff.
I'm not. Stuff. I don't touch that stuff.
What about you, Coach? What do you think?
I think it's going 7. So I guess that means I think I like Milwaukee. Do I like 5.5 though? No, not really. I probably take the Nets and the points and think that we're going to get a close game. I don't think Milwaukee's going to run away with it. I think it's good that these teams are going to beat. I hope it goes 7 because the Sixers have to go 7 by default, or else we're not going to. It doesn't really matter, right? So I don't want anybody to gain some undue rest out here. I still haven't decided which team I think is better because the Nets are a different team every single game. You don't even know who the guys are going to be on the team in the starting lineup, right? And that's a bigger problem with the NBA right now with the stars. So to me, I like Milwaukee just for the fact I think it's a 7-game series. I think it's 2 evenly matched teams. But from a betting perspective, I'll take the Nets and the points because I think we got a close one coming up tonight.
All right. Well, folks, get your bets in. That game's tip around 8:30. We need to talk about, obviously, Kevin Durant's performance on Tuesday night. 49 points, 17 rebounds, 10 assists, 3 steals, and 2 blocks. Guys, we talked about this before that game, saying, and we nailed it, guys, saying that basically, he was going to have to step up. He was going to have to put on a performance of the ages. And guys, it was. King?
Does it make you mad?
Yes. Yes.
All right. I wanted to know if you guys thought that. Like, did his performance not make you more awe-inspired, but actually more mad? Like, as if like we're being gypped of seeing what he can really do on a nightly basis. That's how I felt. Like, oh, he could do that. I'll come close to that. What did you think, Coach?
Well, in terms of Durant, I don't know if anybody can do what he did on a nightly basis, but I get what you're saying, where if he was just, instead of like star hopping and bandwagon jumping and playing with 3 other all-stars all the time, if he had his own team and it was built around him the way Milwaukee's built around Giannis, then what kind of numbers? I mean, he would definitely lead the league in scoring. The question is, would he be messing around in like some Michael Jordan 37 a game numbers? And that's a legitimate question, because unlike LeBron, Durant is a pure scorer. Like, that's what he's built. Like, he's pretty much blessed to do. I think that's a horrible loss by Milwaukee. I think Giannis, and this is back when I was watching sports news, is taking a lot of heat, and rightfully so, for backing down from the challenge of guarding Durant. And I think tonight that it's his responsibility as the leader of the Bucks to guard Durant. Like, you want to be defensive player of the year, you got to go play the best player. And that's what he should do. James Harden, I never saw James Harden play that bad in his life. Like, James Harden couldn't buy a basket, and they weren't even like good-looking misses. So, yeah, Durant, historic game for sure. I mean, you forget he's 32 years old when you see some of these stats, right? But huge character win for the Nets. I didn't think they had it in them. When Milwaukee jumped on them, I was like, hey, this is kind of disappointing. Like, right? I think we all want to watch good games. I'm like, oh, this sucks. And then, no, it doesn't suck, because if you were wise enough to stay up to the end, you saw Kevin Durant pretty much put on a clinic of how to play offensive basketball, and it was beautiful.
Now, see all these moments that are happening, like how they're like these quote-unquote like big-time moments. Those are the ones you watch when you see like the Sports Illustrated DVD of their championship the year after. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, the Nets are starting to put together things that you're like, they're going to win. Because like they're really starting to put together those moments. And I don't know how else to explain it. But like when teams get hot and they're going to win something, that's what happens.
But, I want to add this about stacking the deck too, right? Because a lot's made, and we've made a lot of it, and a lot of people have, about the big 3. But you realize Jeff Green's a good player, and they just got him stashed on the bench. Like, Jeff Green he was a big part of the reason why they win the game. Like, they got Blake Griffin, they got Jeff Green, and then they got Landry Shamet, who's a hell of a player too. And these guys are just like bench fodder for the Nets. That's how much freaking talent they have, is that they can just pull Jeff Crane, dust him off after being on the IR for 30 days. And he comes in and drops 30 against the Bucks. It's like an embarrassment of riches. And then, flash ahead to the Sixers, who are starting friggin' Forkmars, who out here takes 2 shots in the first half, doesn't score for the rest of the game. So they're loaded, the Nets, man. I'm telling you, they're going to win 75 games next year if they stayed healthy. They'll win 75 games. That's how good they are.
And we talk about, all the time defense and how defense matters. And you know what? Defense does matter, but you have to put the ball in the basket. And if you can't put the ball in the basket, you don't stand a chance of winning. Brooklyn gets that. Up and down that lineup, they can score. Every single one, everyone in that lineup can score. Harden did look injured. There's no doubt. I'll be curious to see what he looks like tonight, if he can get back to his old form or if he's really that injured. But if he
Mike,
can get back, go ahead. Yeah.
Mike, let me ask you guys something though. If Harden's going to play like that and he's that injured, are you better off without him?
Bench
or are you
him.
better off with him because he's still James Harden? He can get the ball up the floor. I don't know.
I sit him. I would definitely, in a heartbeat, sit him tonight, because Game 7's coming again. Like, look, the NBA might be like, hey, sit him. They want a Game 7. Everybody wants Game 7, right? So there's no rushing them back. No reason to rush them back. You You don't want a half healthy Harden for 2 games if you can get a decently healthy Harden for 1. So whatever, sit him. Right? I wanted to sit AD before.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens tonight. I mean, you can go both ways with that coach. Yeah, if he's out there, someone's going to be on him. They can't shade off of him. Where if it's someone else, they're going to be trying to double Durant. But like you said, he's a liability. Like there's certain times we talk about the Sixers where, yeah, Joel, I wish you weren't in the game right now. Like, hey, Ben, I wish you weren't in the game right now. So they could hack a Ben and, watch our league go. So, all right, guys. Well, tonight's game should be a barn burner. That's in.
Can I add one thing?
Absolutely.
I never realized how upsetting his last name is until I heard it repeated over and over and over by the anchor, the female anchor on Get Up. She kept saying Durant, and I'm like, wow. I never knew that guy's name was that aggravating. You'd almost say it with the Jersey accent. Durant. It's like am I wrong in saying that it's a messed up name? Like, especially if you hear it from that. Do you know the girl I'm talking about? She's on Get Up. She sits in the middle. She's a Giants fan. I'm sorry. She's on the one with now she's on the one with the main one. She's on the one with come on, guys. It is Get Up. It's got the wide receiver from the Vikings. It's got
Chris Carter?
No.
Nate Burleson?
There you go. That show's called like Get Up or whatever it is. That girl in the middle.
The morning one. It's their morning show.
Yeah. I think it's called Get Up. I only said the name like 400 times. I think it's called Get Up. Anyways, yeah, it was her. Great show, but it was just I think it was just his name. Ray, who do you feel like has got the mojo right now? Because I want to ask you this. As a Sixers fan, which team has it? Which team do you feel like has it?
I think Phoenix right now. I mean, they're in a good spot right now. They're chilling. They're watching these teams kill each other. And they beat the Lakers. They beat the defending champ. And I said it before. I think that means a lot. I think that gives you confidence, especially a team like that. Now, they do have issues. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Chris Paul now with COVID, they said they're gonna evaluate him on Saturday and see where he's at. I mean, they need Chris Paul on the floor. Let's be honest. Without Chris Paul, they don't have a chance. So that's a pretty big deal. But I think he'll be ready. I think he will eventually get back. And I like their chances right now. However, we've said this before. Can the Nets put it all together? I mean, all of those lit candles in Boston were able to fell Kyrie Irving. They finally worked. Can you imagine how many candles were lit for Kyrie Irving to get injured in Boston? I mean, how many are we talking? 1 million?
Yeah, you know what though? So the Suns are the only team to advance, right? And they're waiting for everybody else to finish up. And then Chris Paul gets COVID. He probably got COVID at the best time he could have. Is that a bad thing to say? Like, he caught COVID at the right time. Like, right in their break. So if the games go 7, he's got a better shot. Like, wait a minute. How weird is it that he caught COVID during the break? Right at the beginning of it.
Why are we testing healthy professional athletes for a freaking virus when they have no symptoms? What are we trying to prove by doing that? What is the NBA trying to prove by having these coaches walk around with fucking masks on? What are they doing in these timeout interviews where 2 healthy people are standing 30 feet apart to do an interview at halftime with headphones on, that they're going to now take those headphones that the guy spit in, give them to the next guy for the next interview? It doesn't even make sense what they're doing. You saw what the PGA did. They cost the guy $1.7 million because he tested positive for COVID while he's leading a golf tournament. The guy had no symptoms, and he was obviously healthy enough to lead a golf tournament. Chris Paul just played one of the best games of his entire life. In fact, he just played the best game I ever saw a point guard play in my life. And you're going to tell me that this guy's going to take a week off? Do you really want the NBA Finals decided by a healthy guy testing positive for a bullshit virus? It's ridiculous what they're doing. They should not be testing these guys at this point. There was no outbreak. There was no problem. No one is dying. Let the guy play. It's so horrible.
Is
But
he
that's
is
right.
he sick?
No.
No, not symptomatic, but he was vaccinated, wasn't he? Was that true?
Please, I don't want to get into the
that he was
stupidity
fully
of that.
vaccinated, which
But
is another whole.
I'll tell you this.
Arms.
I do want to tell you this. If they say he didn't test positive for this imaginary nonsense, he still wouldn't be practicing this week if they practice because he's got to heal up. So the week off, he was getting the week off regardless. Like, if you want to do this, I think it's a virtue signal by the NBA saying, look at us following the procedures. That's what I think. I think there's nothing wrong with the guy, but he was going to get a week off anyway. It just would be a shame if he can't play game one because of this, because of whatever their protocols. It's not right for the league. And I got news, Adam Silver. Your ratings are disgusting. Chris Paul is probably the most famous player left in the Western Conference right now. If you sit him and there's no Kawhi, who do you think's going to watch, dude? It's going to be me, Brother Ray Rice, and Cab. That's it. That's it. No one else is going to watch this bullshit. So terrible, terrible situation. But he's going to get the week off anyway. And Phoenix is the team with the best mojo right now. They absolutely are. Yep. Good call, Ray.
Yeah, I definitely. They have to be. So, all right, guys, listen. We had to get to it eventually.
I got one question for you guys. Another one. I don't know. I'm asking the questions tonight, but I got them. Where is the line for Phoenix between well rested from days off while these guys duke it out to rusty because we haven't played in 10 days? Like, there's a line in there somewhere, and I wonder, or do you just wait till after game one? If you win, it's because of the rest, and if you lose, it's because of the rust. Is that how that works?
Phoenix is the type of team that rest will kill. Phoenix is the type of team that you don't want a lot of rest. They're guards. They bang, 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 bang. You don't want them to rest too much. If they were big guys, let them rest. What's the difference? But because you're based like that,
a lot of rhythm involved in the way they play.
Yeah. I can see that. I mean, they do have a lot of youth, but Chris Paul, it's a good thing they're resting right now, considering what he's going through and his injuries and his age. I think, you know what? I think they're going to be chilled. They're going to be rested. And then once you get into game action, we're not talking about months and months of rust. They'll be back into it. I got to say, the more I watch Ayton, the more I'm a fan. He's just that old school player. I love everything about the kid. He interviews well. He's well-spoken. He has this. And that's what a lot of those young kids don't have right now.
You know what's funny? I was going to text you in the group chat. Ayton is like an 80s big man. Like, he's like 7 feet. He's kind of lumbering. He's a bit of a stiff. And then they come in off the bench with Dario, who looks like an 80s bench big man with the freaking pencil mustache. And he's a little soft and he's a little rough around the edges. It is very – I'll tell you what, Phoenix is built in the way that we used to build teams in the 80s, where you got your traditional guys playing traditional spots. There's no stretch 4. There's no stretch 5. You got a point guard. Right, then you got your shooting guard, who's your best scorer. Then you got Jay Crowder, who's your best defender. There's a lot of similarities between how your brain tells you a team should be built and how Phoenix is built. And we lost King Mike. But yeah.
I think he took himself out. He'll be back. But yeah, I mean, in 8 and 2, he's immovable in the block. I mean, he is absolutely immovable. He's not going to the top of the key, threatening threes, and doing any of that crap. He's where he belongs, and it's just like a steady presence. Like, as a guard on that team, you have to feel good knowing that, all right, he's probably going to get a couple offensive rebounds. I could give it to him. He is going to give it back. He's getting better as a passer. The interview I thought was great with Barkley and Shaq, and he was calling Shaq sir and boss and stuff like that. So he has a lot of respect for the elder statesmen of the league. So I don't know. I think they have the mojo right now, and I think I've really grown a liking to that team. I really like. That's a team you can get behind. I don't know that pop culture wise they're ever going to be that, but this is like a cool group of guys. Like, you like Chris Paul. You root for guys you like, and you like these guys, as opposed to the Nets where it's a bunch of guys you don't like and you don't want to root for them. You know, Phoenix is like the opposite of that.
There's somebody for everyone. There's
Yeah.
somebody for everyone on Phoenix. For my son, he's got Booker. Me, I got Chris Paul. You know what I mean? Like everybody's got their own. Phoenix, a little bit of everything.
It's a good point, King. Yeah, I mean they really have a good cast of characters on that team, and it seems like they get along and they all work well together. Really good chemistry, which is needed now. So, and it makes a difference. So, especially in the scoreboard. All right, guys, listen, we had to get to it eventually. All right. I hate to do this. We have to do it. I was thinking about this last night. After several cocktails, we got to look at this Sixer Hawks game and figure out what happened. I'm going to just mention some numbers. Then I want to hear what you guys think. Okay. All right. Let's see. Ben Simmons. We've talked about this. 4 for 14 from the free throw line. Okay. Second half points. Atlanta 69. Philly 44. Okay. Fourth quarter. Atlanta 40. Philly 19. Let's look at some other stats from the fourth quarter. Joel Embiid 6 points. Seth Curry 11 points. Ben Simmons 2 points.
That's it.
Tobias Harris 0 points. Coach, where is our bench and where are these supposed max players that we have?
Well, here's the problem, and it's Doc's fault. There's a reason why Doc, of the 6 of the 8 biggest postseason leads blown, Doc Rivers was the coach, and that's spanning different franchises. It's a Doc problem. They ran the same set like 15 consecutive times to end the game. Almost like they were doing something where it's going to be Curry and Embiid, and everybody else just get the heck out of here. And Curry's not that guy. I know he shot well last night. He's not that guy. As a coach, you got to get Harris the ball on a possession as the lead's going down. Like, what are we paying him for if you're just going to stick him in the corner like he's a stiff? A lot of that comes down to Doc. There was an exchange during, like, they were coming back from commercial, and Tobias and Doc are, like, going at it. And I can imagine Tobias is saying, get me the effing ball. Like, give me the ball. And it's just not happening. I give McMillan and the Hawks a lot of credit for this. That game was a blowout, and in the first half, they were still hacking Simmons. During that time window when you can do the hack of Simmons, they didn't give up on what they were going to do, and they were down by like 20, and they're still hacking them. And they got a possession here, got a possession there. Total embarrassment by the Sixers the way they blew that game. But I got a question. Why are we just running two-man game with Curry and Embiid every single time down the floor as the lead is shrinking? It was bad. It was bad coaching. It was bad playing.
And why is Embiid at the top of the key for every single call? Like every single play starts with him at the top of the key.
And then we're gonna do the handoff dance. We're gonna fake the handoff, and then we're gonna try and get a long pump fake, which when he does it, it's fine. But you had Dwight Howard miss a dunk. You had Simmons miss a dunk. I mean, it was just they got that big lead, and it's like they took their foot off the gas. And in the NBA playoffs, you can't do it. A lot of credit to the Hawks, but my goodness, that's all about Philly and the meltdown. All about it.
King, I got a question for you. Ben Simmons, 4 for 14 from the free throw line. At a certain point in the fourth, Doc had to take him out because you couldn't put him on the line. The lead was dwindling. Can you play with someone like that?
No, it goes beyond the whole theory of that he doesn't fit that position. Like I don't want him as one of my guards taking up a guard space because he just can't hit an open jumper, stuff like that. But when you can't hit a free throw and you're the point guard, all right, you're not the center. You're
on the team. How about you're on the team? You're on the team.
You're considered a guard. You should be able to make your free throws, guy. And it's something that you could learn to do. Like you could actually practice so much that you learn how to shoot free throws. It's proven. It's a proven fact. But he doesn't. And he goes 4 for 14 on the bench. How's that help me down the stretch? I would foul Ben Simmons if I was on the team in a heartbeat.
I mean, 32%. He basically is making Shaq look like Rick Barry, and I mean, and it's a big problem. I mean, you can't have him on. If you can't have him on the floor, how can he be a max player, a leader on your ball club, coach?
Well, then you got this. He only gets 4 rebounds. Trae Young lights us up again for 40. So don't give me the defense. Don't give me the – and I'm the biggest Simmons defender there is. But if you're going to play that kind of defense and you're not going to rebound, then you can't help but notice that you're not doing anything out there productive. The free throw thing, it's crazy. He misses left. He misses right. He misses short. He misses long. He missed one last night that hit the rim in a spot that I've never seen a ball hit the rim. Like it was like – if you're looking at a clock, he hit the rim at like 10:30 p.m. How the hell do you hit the rim at 10:30 p.m.? Anybody can make a free throw. You're right. I'm telling you, with enough time, I can make my wife shoot 38%. And there's no question in my mind. He's that bad. When he goes up there, he makes one. He gets a standing ovation for making a free throw. Like, aren't you embarrassed, dude? And you're not going to do the other things. So if you're not going to do the other things, and their game plan is pretty much follow you, it's a turnover, you got to sit him.
Even other teams are embarrassed. Kevin Huerter was embarrassed yesterday when he had to foul him right at the end of the first half.
86 feet away from the basket, and he's like,
feet away, and he's trying to get the ref's attention. Like, hey, I have to foul him. I'm fouling him.
And it's not even real basketball. And the crowd starts booing Nate McMillan, and you look at his face, and he doesn't want to do it because Nate McMillan's a basketball lifer. Like, nobody wants to play. It's almost like cheating. No one wants to do it. But if the cheating is going to let you win playoff games, then you got to do it. You got to do it. And you're right. He's shooting half as good as Shaq. Half as good as Shaq, who is notoriously bad for taking free throws. And I'll tell you, I can only defend the guy so much. If you can't do the other stuff that makes you defendable, then what are you doing? Then let's just put Maxey out there. Okay, George Hill out there. Let George Hill play 30 minutes. I'm sorry. George Hill's a professional point guard. You know what you're going to get? You're going to get it. But there's no reason why Simmons can't be out here getting more than 4 rebounds, and the free throw thing is an abomination.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens and how this progresses and what happens on Friday. I also thought Doc leaving Shake in there as the point guard, driving that offense, he just didn't look good, Coach. I mean, he just didn't look sure of himself. A couple of bad turnovers. You can't have it.
And one of them was in transition when it was like a 3-on-1 break. And then one time he came down and there were 2 defenders back and he just pulled up from the left wing as if he's like Steph. So here's the thing with Shake and guys like Shake. There's a lot of them. You can tell the first 5 trips up the floor if the guy's got anything tonight. Because when Shake's hot, he's good. When he's not, you can't play him because he's not that good. He's a G League player is what he is when he's not playing well. And then and we're gonna talk about guys who get hot. How many times is Lou Williams going to come in the game and you realize like Lou Williams can score? Like he's ridiculous. They should have never let him go 10 years ago. But he comes in and he just catches fire like the second he walks in the game. You know, it's a blessing they're not letting him play 30 minutes a game because he still scores 15 points. He plays like freaking 16 minutes. Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, he really lifted them up in the fourth. What do you have, 13, 14 points?
All in the fourth. Led the comeback.
I mean, he is a problem. And they do have some scores on that team. DeAndre Hunter's not even playing for them right now. I mean, they do have some talent on that bench. And like you said, Collins in these last 2 games, I mean, he's really made a difference both defensively with block shots, with rebounding, offensive rebounds. He's hitting the 3, and they hit their foul shots. I'm watching the game with my son, and I'm like, look, they can hit free throws. Like, why are you fouling Gallinari? He's like an 86% free throw shooter, maybe higher. Like,
Gallinari can't even move. The guy's immobile. He's a bum. He comes in, lights us up. They're starting. When's the last time a team won a playoff series starting a redhead? They got this dude out here. He played terrible last night. Hoarder. He was terrible. We can't take advantage of that. Nope. We can't take advantage of that because the guy's coming off the bench and they just light up everybody. But Tobias Harris with his 4 points disaster. Ben Simmons with his just overall lack of production. Mike's rolling his eyes, but Mike's like, "Look, you guys are disgruntled."
No,
Mike, yeah, anything?
I'm honestly right now the heat. I'm like sweating over here in my eyes. and I'm just listening to you guys talk about the Sixers, and it's no offense, but like, gosh darn, Sixer fans, ugh, like Ben Simmons. Do you think he works out? Do you think he really puts in the work, or you think he shows up? He's like, yeah, I did legs, and he goes home.
I think he does.
I think whatever they put on the whiteboard, right? They put up the whiteboard in the weight room. He does that, then he's out. Like whatever the minimum is to be on the team, because you can't just not lift weights in the NBA, right? But he's not like, yeah, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go run these stairs. Or I'm gonna go let me get 3 ball boys. I'm gonna take 1,500 free throws today. No way. Bare minimum.
Where's the self-discipline within Ben Simmons?
Nah,
he won't learn anything. He won't learn it. He's not gonna learn it. Like, so why? How do you keep a guy like that? He's not gonna learn stuff.
Morey has some decisions to make, guys. Morey, I mean, I'm sure he's watching this. I mean, he inherited this. He didn't draft Ben Simmons. He didn't sign Tobias Harris.
The rest of the NBA is watching this too. So Tobias you can keep, but Ben Simmons right now is like public enemy number 1 in the NBA. Everybody knows his red flags are so red that they're like pulsating like the heartbeat in a friggin' horror movie. Who's going to want him? His trade value, he just crushed his own trade value in a week. Like, they were better off getting off him last year and being like, hey, he's the next coming, man. He's just going to figure out this jump shot. And now it's like, who you get for him? First round pick? It's not good enough. You got to get more than that. You got to get a player. But you know what? He would be better off some team in the middle of nowhere where nobody cares, where everybody's soft like him. But Philly's not the town for it. Philly's not the town for it. You know, they booed his ass coming out of the gym last night.
And he's so big. He's so big.
6'10".
Yeah.
But he doesn't play 6. The thing with him that really aggravates Sixer fans is he doesn't play like he's 6'10". Once in a while, he'll play like he's 6'10". And guess what? They win. He scores 15 plus points, gets 10 rebounds, and they win.
But when he starts taking wrong-footed layups going away from the basket, you know he wants no part of that game. And he was doing that. He started doing that last night with the jump off my right foot with my right hand going from left to right. Oh, it's so poor. He's been getting away with that his whole career. But I don't know what you do with him. I mean, this is a team we got right now, but I don't know how you come back into next year and not think we're just going to do the same thing. I mean, they're going to win games. They're going to win games if they brought the same group back. But he's got to give us more than that. And in game 3, he was the best player on the floor in the second half. So you know it exists. It's just he doesn't give a shit. That's what's the most frustrating part. I can deal with it a lot, but I can't deal with like I don't care. You know, I don't care.
And I think we're all one. King,
I was just gonna say, no offense, you guys somewhat come off as like beaten wives. Like you're like, oh no, he's good, he's Benson, and it's like, oh, the horrible things he did. Like it's just like, you know, it's.
I definitely feel like that though, because
you're always like apologizing.
I have defended Ben Simmons since the freaking day we drafted him. And people are like, oh, he didn't even make the tournament at LSU. Oh, it doesn't really matter. Oh, he can't, But now, I mean, this is the year. Everything's been building towards this exact season because they can't win it next season. You know what I mean? They can't win it because Brooklyn's going to be just too good, and it doesn't really freaking matter what anyone else does in the NBA. This is the year, and that was the game last night, and I have no confidence that they're going to go into Atlanta and win. I don't. Nope.
Yeah,
of course, I'm wrong every time, so
it's going to be tough. I mean, just checking scores right now. Looks like Milwaukee's up by 13 on Brooklyn right now, so they've come out strong. 6:12 left in the first.
Yeah, because it's game 6. That's what I told you.
Giannis with 7 points. And Drew with 5.
Drew just made, according to ESPN, Drew just made a 27-foot running pull-up. That's like heat check stuff. When you start taking 27,
like why can't we get players like that, Coach?
I don't know. You know, I got to ask you a question, Ray, because we got 15 minutes and there's only one game going on, right? Had they kept that team together with Holiday, Lou Williams, Iguodala,
Iggy,
Thad, Spencer Hawes, but you also had on that team of Vujicic was also on that team.
Right.
We
got rid of him too.
Huh?
And we got rid of him too.
Like, don't you feel like they should have just kept that team together? And I don't know if they win a championship, but they would have had a team. instead of blowing it up. Like these guys are still doing it. Iguodala won Finals MVP like 2 years ago. Lou Williams is out there right now hooping. Drew Holiday's out there starting. I don't know. To me, that was just a overall. I like that group. Very underrated group.
Vukovic was a steal. All of those guys were steals when they drafted him. And
See ya.
See ya.
We get thank for Jahlil Okafor and Michael Carter Williams and Nerlens Noel and Markelle Fultz. Don't forget Markelle Fultz.
Oh my God,
Mike, how do we sound now? Now I sound like a disgruntled ex-wife. Now I went from the wife to the ex-wife. Now,
yeah. Go ahead, King.
The thing is, for a while there, they did draft the same guy like a couple years in a row, right? Like that seemed like when the Matrix kind of went off kilter, when they kept getting like guys who looked exactly the same, played the same position, like Okafor, like the guy before him, and then him, and it's like we just drafted that guy. Like that didn't make sense.
Hawes, Spates, Okafor, Noel, Embiid, like they just kept drafting the same exact guy. Finally, Embiid popped, and I think that was the plan all along, was for Embiid to pop, or one of the guys. What really happened is, if this doesn't work out this year and into the future, the mistake they made was Ben Simmons' work ethic was that bad that he kind of let down the franchise, because him and Embiid were supposed to be the ones. And you can't really blame Tobias Harris. He's a mercenary. He's just a scoring mercenary. This is not the foundation of which the Sixers were built. Tobias Harris, but Simmons was and is, and it's just not good enough.
Simmons' shot was workable. That's what all we heard when they drafted him, was that it's workable. He's a left-hander. The shot was workable. We all heard it. That's what they preached. That's where, Sam Hinkie said the shot was workable. Obviously, it wasn't workable. And that was the big failure. Nerlens Noel was playing decent basketball. He played decent basketball this year for the Knicks. But he's not a scorer.
He's a role player.
But they never get stuck with, they never had the opportunity to take those alpha scorers, those alpha guys that could come in and dominate a game, except Embiid. And he was injured.
Well, I'll tell you this. They did. First of all, they could have had Tatum. All right. And as much as I hate it, they could have had Tatum. Second of all, they were picking high enough in the draft where anybody who's out there right now, they could have taken. Would it have looked a little weird if they took Donovan Mitchell with the 6th pick? Yeah, it would have looked weird.
De'Aaron Fox, players like that. Fox, they could have got him.
Yeah, but they kept going big and going big. And by the way, don't look now, but the NBA is fantastic, right? So right now it's a 6-point game with the Bucks. So right now an early lead doesn't really matter in that league, but everyone's jacking up threes. Oh Lord.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen. Tomorrow night's game. Let's look at it right now. Sixers. They're taking the heat right now. Going back to Atlanta. Atlanta's got everything going for them right now. I'm not going to. The thing to Atlanta is Trae Young had a great game. Collins has stepped up. Bogdanovich didn't have a good game. Herter didn't have a good game. Capella really hasn't dominated. And he's been completely overpowered by Embiid. Is it just that the Sixers are just bad, or what is it?
Go ahead, Mike.
It goes. It's gonna go either way, right? It's gonna go where they just flop and show how bad and dysfunctional they really are, and all that other good stuff, or it's gonna go left-right. Just throw the jab, and then the right finishes them off. So in other words, the Sixers win tonight or the next game, whenever. Say Game 7's in Philly. They win at home. There's 2 series that are just a series. Is it the Clippers series? Yeah, that's just like this. You win, and then you go home for Game 7, and you close it out. So I could totally actually see the Sixers winning this whole series still, because I think they win tonight, and then they win Game 7 at home. If it goes to Game 7, they're winning at home. Just so you know that. So they only get a win tonight.
Yeah, Atlanta's the fickle fan base. This isn't the Garden. What do you think, Coach?
You're right about the fan base, and I think the NBA knows that too. Like, it's in the NBA's best interest not to have Atlanta involved in the damn playoffs. Like, really, no one cares over there. But here's the thing. The Sixers play with no emotion outside of when Embiid gets the crowd going. Atlanta plays with emotion and enthusiasm. Like, Collins is the kind of guy that you grow to like. Trae Young plays with a swagger. If the crowd's behind them, and the crowd wasn't bad when we were in Atlanta. It really wasn't bad. As much as those people will drop them in a set. They didn't support the Braves, for God's sakes. But the Sixers are the better team. They're 3-point favorites on the road in a game 6. So that lets you know what the betting public thinks. They think the Sixers are the better team. They're going to win the game. But they got to come out with some emotion. And if that means that emotion's got to come from the bench, then it's got to come from the bench. But Tobias Harris out here sleepwalking, Ben Simmons sleepwalking, is not good. It's not good enough, because I think Atlanta's going to come knowing, like, this is our game, because they're not stupid. Coming into Philly in a game 7 is not going to be that's not a good spot for Atlanta. So I feel like they're going to play this game to win it. And if they don't, King Mike's probably right, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if the Sixers don't show up, or if Embiid falls on his ass in the first half and gets dragged away. Like, none of that would surprise me. None of it would surprise me at all.
Yeah, I feel, is it going to be the Joel Embiid that's already going to start pointing fingers, maybe talking about other things and looking at this and, okay, how am I going to position myself in the offseason? Or are they really going to embrace Doc? I mean, where everyone's watching Doc right now, to see what he's going to do, because this is going to show, Philly fans and the NBA, does Doc still have it? He has failed in all of his stops.
Listen, Doc has failed everywhere. Doc has blown 3-1 leads in the playoffs when he had the better team. Kevin Garnett dragged him to a ring. Otherwise, this guy would be in a front office somewhere where he belongs. And I like Doc as a person. He's an NBA lifer. I'm always into those guys. He's not a good coach. And that's the facts of the case. My question is he going to have the balls to pull Simmons with 5 minutes left in the first half so he doesn't go to the foul line? Like, will he have the balls to do that? And as far as positioning himself, I don't think Embiid's positioning himself anywhere. I think he likes where he is. But I think everybody else better start looking. They better start updating their resume, have their agents making phone calls, because this whole thing is centered around Embiid, and whether he's injury prone or not. If he doesn't get the supporting cast, then we got to get him a new supporting cast, because this guy's too good to waste. He might be the best big in the whole league. And tomorrow night's a real big challenge for Doc Rivers. It really is.
Yeah, we'll see. Good, King. Right now, the spread is Philly -3. What do you guys think, King?
I like Philly.
Cover -3?
Yeah.
Okay. Over is 221.5.
I think in the NBA, I know Mike doesn't do the over-unders. I mean, it's hard not to just go over in every single NBA game, because you feel like every score is getting up in the 240s. There's been some actual low-scoring games that were pretty crappy, but in this series right here, Trae Young's going to score, Embiid's going to score, right? So we're already starting off with 70 before we even do anything. To me, over is a safe bet. I'd probably go Sixers in the over, but I've told you guys before, I can't bet on Sixers games. I got too much invested anyway for me to lose money on top of it. It's just double whammy.
You know what the thing is, Brother Ray? Our dad is the one that ruined that for me, because he would always tell me nobody wants to root for the under. Like, nobody wants to sit there and hope there's less points. He goes, of course you're going to want to go with the over. So that's why I can't do that, because that's when emotion takes over. And I'm always like, over. Like, I think everything should be over.
I find that with prop bets in the NFL too, right? So you got a prop bet guy over 100 yards or over 110 yards. Who the hell wants to watch a game and hope the guy that you're betting on doesn't get the ball? So you sit there and it's like, yeah, I'll take over 100 yards, and you hope to see some action. But really, the smart money is always on the less than with those. Always. But then you got to sit the game and hope no one throws the ball to T.Y. Hilton so you can make $50, and it's not that fun.
I can't do those. But brother, really quickly, you turn a thing and you get like the different guys. So the series is called like Pop Culture, like whatever the characters, and all 3 of these guys fit my childhood. The Kool-Aid Man.
Oh yeah.
Count
Oh,
Chocula.
Chocula. Yeah, we like
And
it.
wait, the best of all the cereals.
Boo Berry.
Right? I'm
And
like,
Frankenberry.
goddamn.
We used to eat. That was a staple in our house.
And
They
the
don't,
truth,
they don't make that Boo Bear anymore, huh?
they do. Oh, they do.
Where are
Stop
you
and
gonna get
shop.
Stop and Shop?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I gotta put my kids on that.
So check this out. It's true that there was a fourth character that had his own cereal. It was the wolf,
Yeah, the
and he was
Wolfman.
like a fruit. He was
Yeah,
like a
the fruity
fruit
one.
flavored one, and that he just didn't catch on. Like they just like they squashed the wolf. You never heard from him again.
Never
I
even
remember
knew.
we had it at one point. We had it in our house when it first came out. I forgot what it was
Okay.
called.
My kid does this thing with the Lucky Charms where he wants Lucky Charms, and then every day I have to eat a bowl of Lucky Charms minus the marshmallows.
Yeah,
If he thinks he'll be like, Dad, I need more, and all he's done is eat marshmallows. But that Boo Berry stuff, all of them are delicious. Like the crunchies are good too. Like you just, and then the milk is
phenomenal.
yeah.
It's still good. It's still good. It's I go from 185 back to like 205 type good. They have a box that's in the
Easily.
house.
Oh,
I'll
easily.
treats around the house. I'm bad with that. Stuff.
Sugar. We gotta love it, man. Gotta love it. No, I love that stuff. All right. Well, I'm gonna take the Sixers tomorrow, minus the 3. I'm in. I'm going with them. I'm probably wrong. I'm probably gonna be, drunk.
No, I think you're right.
Like Coach TJ throwing bricks through windows. That probably gonna be me tomorrow.
Throwing bricks, yelling, "This is a Simmons free throw, and this is a Simmons." In the meantime, all you hear is glass on George Waterman Avenue. In case anyone's wondering, I'm joking before the damn cops show up here talking about you're throwing bricks at moving cars. 42 years old throwing bricks at cars. Yeah. Hopefully they put it together because we all know if they win Game 6, Game 7, they can win. But right now, boy, you wake up this morning, even going to bed last night, it was like, what the heck did I just watch? And I was telling Pam during the first half, I said, I wanted to go to the game. I want to go to, if they go to a Game 7, I'm going to go. I wanted to go to the game, and they're up 25 in the first half. And I'm like, I'm kind of glad I didn't because now that that's over, it's boring. And then it was 18. And then, I went to the bathroom, and it got a glass of water, and it was 14. And then it was 6, and I'm telling Tommy, who was staying up, I'm like, Tommy, this is bad. They're still winning. No, they're not.
No, yeah.
Yeah, they were up 6, but they were losing. No, tomorrow night, Sixers in the over.
Excellent. Yeah, my son is a Sixer fan, and he said he's not watching any more games. I think last night broke him, so I'm trying to persuade him to watch on Friday. All right.
Well, so he must be young because
He is young.
if you're a real Sixers fan, you've been broken so many times that you're like,
Already
it's all
broken.
cartilage at this point. It's all scar tissue.
Already broken.
Hey Ray, you know what I've been watching a lot lately, to be honest, is videos of people walking into glass.
What?
I laugh at those. No, dude, I can't right now. Between sweating up here, it's like 400 degrees. This light that I put on that's blinding me. I can barely look up at it. I'm gonna have tears strolling down my face. People are gonna be like, "Why are you so emotional?" I wasn't emotional. I'm all blotchy and sweaty. I'm trying to cover myself. I'm dying here, for Christ's sakes. Dying here
In
for
the
Christ's.
interrogation room. It looks like you're in an interrogation.
That's how I feel right now. I don't even remember what I was saying. I have no idea what I was saying.
Wow.
Do you remember what I was saying?
We were talking about the Sixers, and you were talking about people walking through glass.
Oh yeah.
People are walking through glass.
So people walking through glass, unbelievably hilarious. There's nothing better than especially when someone walks confidently into that glass, bang. It's the greatest feeling you'll ever have. I mean, it's like, it's so fulfilling. It's just like, because they're so cocky and then bang. Trust me, people walking into glass, and then I can't say the other one, but it's certain type of people falling down.
I'd rather do that probably than watch the Sixer game, to be honest with you.
It's going to be great on Monday when you say, hey, Coach TJ, what did you think of the second half of the Nets game? And I'm like, I don't know, but I watched 650 people fall into pools and friggin' walk into glass. And I have no idea what happened in the game.
And I'm happy.
And I'm happier.
Yes.
Yep,
All right,
pretty much.
let's look at the Utah LA game. Let's get those picks in for people that are looking to bet. I mean, how do we even figure this series out now? I mean, we talked about the Clippers. Where the hell is Utah gone? Who's going to win this game?
I like what Mike said earlier. I like Utah. I feel like both series are kind of mirror images, but if I had to, I think Philly has a better chance of winning Game 6. I think Utah. I like Utah in Game 6.
-1, by the way. Utah -1.
It's pretty much a push because even Vegas doesn't know what to do with it. It's like, yeah, flip a coin. It really is a guess at this point when it comes to that series. No one knows anything that's going on. I mean, can Paul George do that again and again and again?
Amazing.
I don't know. Like, I don't know if he can do it again. So I'm going to say that he can't because I don't trust Paul George, and I'm going to take Utah.
I'm going to agree with you. I'm sticking with Utah on this. I think not having Kawhi is going to catch up with them in this game, and I think Utah. And King, what about you?
I'm sticking with it. Utah is going to cover and finish out the series.
Excellent. Well, guys, this has been a crazy week. It's been an exciting NBA playoffs. I have to say it, even with the Sixers completely collapsing. A lot of great games. And if you're a Hawks fan right now, you do have to be happy. I know we haven't talked a lot about it from their perspective, but I mean, they have a bunch of young pieces. You have an interim coach who basically walked in halfway through the season and has done a tremendous job. Nothing but respect for the job that he's done. They better renew him because he's done an incredible job. They have a bright future ahead of them.
They really, really do.
Doesn't the NBA look great without LeBron? Like right now, no LeBron. It's awesome. The games are awesome. I love the NBA right now. I love all the teams playing. Let's play ball. No LeBron. It's like a cloud is gone, you know?
Imagine LeBron is probably if he's not the best player ever, he's the second, third best player ever. And people are just happy he's not around. Like, think about what that says about his personality. That you would think when Jordan was on the tail end, like people were praying for Jordan to like give it one last go, like win it one more time. And with LeBron, he's so dislikable that people are just like, oh, look at how awesome this is without this fool around. And he still interjected himself this week with Twitter. But yeah, no LeBron has been kind of good. It's definitely opened things up. And it's new teams, different guys. I don't know how much the national audience is flying with it, though. I don't. Ratings have been really, really bad. And I don't know what matchup gives the NBA the best ratings right now. Maybe it's Phoenix, Brooklyn. I don't know. But no LeBron is kind of cool.
Well, LeBron was actually the reason for the ratings dipping at one point. So if you think about it, you take him out, maybe you get some fans back, and they're watching the younger kids.
But if LeBron was in the finals, even the fans that stopped watching because of LeBron would watch the finals to see if LeBron wins the title. I think that to be true. You know,
I want to see him lose.
Yeah,
feels great without him. Feels great without him.
All right, gentlemen. Well, listen, we're about out of time right now. Appreciate you guys being with us tonight. Some exciting basketball tonight. Some exciting basketball tomorrow night. We will be back on Monday at 7 p.m. to talk about everything that's happened over the weekend. Hopefully we have some good news for the Sixers. Who knows? We'll see. But appreciate everyone being here tonight. For King Mike L, Coach TJ, I'm Brother Ray. Have a great night from Legit Fantasy Sports.